Oh, come on. Oh, we are live. Welcome to another chat session coming to you live from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains. Sorry about that. Of Southern California's Inland Empire, about 70 miles east of Los Angeles. Well, welcome in, Jason. You're number one. Oh, wow. We're supposedly in a heat wave, but up here on the mountain at about 5,000 feet, it isn't that bad. Mostly high 70s. One time it got up into the mid 80s. But really, yeah, I do take it easy and make sure I get enough water and electrolytes. But it isn't that big a deal, except this morning, out in the sun on my hands and knees pulling up weeds. Ooh, Jason just got home from work. Says it was 104 the other day. Yeah, Arizona has been really hit by this heat. Now it's like 100 degrees down below, but up here on the mountain, not so bad. And as much as I complain about the winter cold, had to grab my hand lotion. I'd rather put up with some snow than with 100-degree weather down below. The heat really melts me. Anyway, this morning I was on my knees in the sun pulling up weeds, and it got a little too hot. But just while I was down on the ground. And then I came in for a drink of water, and I just wasn't feeling well. So I had a little nap. Not on purpose. I was listening to an audio book and fell asleep. It was a murder mystery, so I still don't know who done it. What's with my camera? Yeah. I shouldn't bump it. Oh, hi, Witta. Welcome in. I did message Freeman, but I haven't heard back, so he must be asleep or out and about. Well, the weeds are still pretty strong. Started after Snowmageddon in 23. The weeds got a huge drink of water and grew big and tough with deep roots. But it doesn't look quite as bad as last year. Oh, Lord. What a day. Now, by around 3 in the afternoon, it was actually kind of cool up here. The sky clouded up a little, but not rain clouds. We are not expecting any rain. Man. Let's see what's going on in the world. Iran, of course. Our so-called allies are useless. They depend on oil from the Middle East. We don't. And if we could get rid of government red tape, we wouldn't need to import any oil. So anyway, they didn't want to step up and patrol the Strait of Hormuz to keep the oil flowing to their countries like we're supposed to do it for them. So much for NATO. NATO without the US would be useless. We are a big country with a lot of people. I haven't checked on what our population is lately, but I think it's around 350 million. Oh, Widow says the U.S. Treasury was declared insolvent today. Well, yeah, because we have politicians in charge instead of accountants and like that, experts. Well, as long as we quit wasting money on useless stuff. I thought Ronald Reagan proved it in the 1980s that raising taxes. Be quiet, phone. Be quiet. Come on, do not disturb. Oh, Freeman says he'll be here in a few minutes. I said okay. When he reduced taxes, the government got more money because people they had an incentive to work harder and make more money when they didn't have to pay so much in taxes. They also had more resources to invest. Whatever. It's like I don't know. Governments have gone crazy. Our Governor Newsom in California is proposing all kinds of new taxes. People already are having trouble just paying the rent and buying food. And they want to take more from working people's wages. Well, welcome in, Freeman. About time you got here. So we got the war in Iran, and the funding for the military is tied up in Congress because of the battle over the Save America Act. True, Witta. They used to say we had a lot of homeless because homeless people from other states were coming here for the climate, the weather, and the benefits. But now it's just people losing their homes. I mean, you need about $1,200 a month to rent a room in someone else's house. I don't know. But I got to pull all those weeds no matter what. They aren't inspecting yet. every April they just send out a warning about weeds to everyone. They don't bother to inspect, they just send it out. But then they start inspecting after they've sent out the warnings. Yeah. Freeman got a big pile of books by Philip K. Dick. When are you going to get a big pile of books by me? Jay Lizard is here. Welcome in. Good to see people in chat. You make this show. Without you, I'm nothing. I've got one of the best chat rooms on the YouTube. Oh, Freeman already got 3 of my books. When I went mad and started giving away books, did you get one? The singer of Deep Purple Dreams, did he recently die? I have no clue. Oh, Nene. I think that means aunt, or as I say in California, aunt. Your mother's sister or your father's sister. Oh, Allegro's mushroom. Darkening of the light and remembering Firebright. Freeman thinks he got a signed book. Well, I had a stack of books to give away or sell, and I decided to give them to my loyal chat members. Allegro's mushroom is about John Allegro's book about the magic mushroom, and he was claiming that Christianity was just a cult who took drugs and had visions. It was something that Phil read and really, I guess he pretended like he believed. You never know with him whether he was what he would call shining you on, just saying stuff to stuff that wasn't true, but he was having fun with it. Oh, anyway, I went through Allegro's book, the whole thing, and about half of it wasn't even about mushrooms. The magic mushroom, the something Eta muscaria, Amanita muscaria, the red mushroom with the white dots that you see in pictures of elves and, fantasy stuff, fairy tales. Yeah, I know we're in the year of the fire horse, and since I was born in a year of the horse, it'll be massive for me and could be good or bad, according to Chinese astrology. Yeah, Philip, it means horse lover. Phil is love, and hip is horse. Of course, we don't spell it the way the Greeks would have spelled it. Oh, Jay Lizard says it will be great. It seems good so far. Not fantastic, but good. My health has improved. I'd still like to be a little better. My finances are slightly better. And that's greatly due to people going to the links in the description and donating, or going to Amazon to buy my books. Oh, well, I gotta turn off that light. It's gonna mess up my camera. Besides, I like sitting in the dark. I don't like bright lights. I gotta let a cat in. Hang on. All right, 3C, I'm coming. You want in the house? Come on, pretty kitty. That's my little cat. Come on. Come in. Good girl. Okay, now all 5 cats are in. Hi, Tora. I should have taken Tora's picture while that light was on. Now she's got her back to me. Are you ignoring me? There she is. I got the flashlight on her now. Say hi to your adoring fans. She was sound asleep. I probably woke her up when I got up to let 3C in. That's short for 3CPO. Cats don't like words with more than 2 syllables. Oh, yeah, I miss Ditch. Something awful, Freeman. Ditch was a great member, a great chatter. Has it really been 11 months? Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. Oh, ICE is working at the airports to help ICE out. They're doing the stuff like watching the back door to make sure nobody sneaks in, and just walking around observing in case there's any trouble. And the lines at the airports where ICE is working have really been cut down to maybe an hour, sometimes 2, instead of 6 to 8 hours. And some Iranian officials want to negotiate with us. Or with Trump. I think he said he sent Marco Rubio. That guy does a lot. A lot of work, he wears a lot of hats. I hate war, but most of you probably were not around or not old enough to remember when the mullahs took over Iran. And we should have put a stop to that in 1979. I've known a lot of Persians, that's what they call themselves, refugees who came here because under the Muslim government you could not be a Christian or a Jew or an atheist. And everyone I've met has been a very good person. Many were couples with small children. You see, the mullahs were not Iranian. They were Arabs who entered the country in order to take over the government. They were not Persian. Iran was Persia until quite recently, 20th century, I believe, mid 20th century. Yeah, there are still some Zoroastrians, mostly here in the US, where they don't have to at least pretend to be Muslims so the government won't kill them. Yeah, Jay Lizard, I haven't really looked into theories on the relationship between Zoroaster and Jesus. Zoroaster is a very obscure person. They aren't sure which century he lived in, or who he was, or whether he really existed. But there are scriptures either written by or written about Zoroaster. The idea is of a god of light battling against a god of darkness. And the god of light will win, of course. Well, Freeman Jimmy Carter, President Carter, was sabotaged. And I just couldn't vote for Jerry. Oh, hell. Nixon's final vice president, Gerald Ford, after what he did with the pullout from Vietnam. We won the war and we surrendered and tucked tail and ran, leaving behind not only Vietnamese who helped us, but also some American citizens. They left behind trained military dogs in a country where they eat dogs. There were people on top of the American embassy who are still there after our last helicopter left. Freddie Mercury was a Zoroastrian? I didn't know that, Witta. I only know of Freddie Mercury and many other music artists, singers and musicians through the rock and roll show that Chapman College used to put on. At first it was every year, but it got to be too much, too big, so they made it every 2 years. Now I don't think they do it at all because the two professors who were in charge of that show have passed away. Oh, also sprach Zarathustra. You mixed English and German, Jay Lizard. The German is also, ALSO, and in English it's thus spoke Zarathustra. Yeah, Nietzsche brings to light that Zoroaster was like Jesus of his time, and how the church made Z into Jesus. Well, could be, Jay Lizard. I don't really know. But thank you for the info. Freeman wants to disagree. He doesn't believe that Jimmy Carter was sabotaged. He wasn't all that bright. And I don't think he was really in charge. But Gerald Ford, oh my God. Definition of a rhino: Republican in name only. I'm not a Republican, but I'm not a Democrat either. I, they're two wings of the same bird. And Congress is showing that right now. The Democrats shut down the government, but the Republicans let them do it. Didn't even try any of the tools they have that could reopen the government and fund TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard. ICE is funded for the next 3 years. They aren't hurting. That's why they're able to patrol the airport and make the lines shorter. Oh, yeah. Zoroaster called good light and evil absence of light. The church wants us to forget that. Yeah. I mean, Jesus is supposed to be the light of the world. And Jesus is God according to theology. It's been years, but I did once see a YouTube documentary about a Zoroastrian church in the United States. It was quite interesting. No, Freeman, it was not Jimmy Carter. It was, what's his name, between Roosevelt and Eisenhower. Who the hell was he? Truman. Harry Truman could not pronounce nuclear, so Webster put nuclear into their dictionary because the president pronounced it that way. Truman was way before Carter. Oh, son of a gun. LBJ Johnson was a horrible president, a horrible person. They're probably dead now, but there were former aides to LBJ who claimed that he would take them to a graveyard and say, I want every one of these people here, in other words, the dead, to vote for me. Harry Truman, Freeman, came up with nuclear. He just could not pronounce nuclear. And I hate it when people say nuclear. That's probably a real word, but it doesn't mean radioactive substances. It has to do with biology. Yes, Jason, dialogue conspiracy is Jason. Jesus Christ is the Word of God made flesh. But since the resurrection, basically, he is God. That's a difficult concept because most Christians don't like dualism, but he told us that he and the Father are one. While he was here in a human body, he was separate, but when he died and was reborn or resurrected, he became one with God again. Really, I think Christianity is basically dualistic, the Father and the Son, but we don't like dualism. Oh, 3 Mile Island. Freeman, you had to remind me. That was a nuclear power plant that, I don't know, it failed in some way and contaminated a area where people lived. I don't remember what Carter said, but I think he was basically just not very intelligent and easily influenced. Oh, yeah. Apparently, Carter, he campaigned as a farmer with his political ads showed him driving a tractor on a farm, but he was a nuclear engineer. But apparently not a very good one if you wanted to go look at the 3 Mile Island disaster. You shouldn't go anywhere near it without super protective clothing, at least. Well, I think, Jay Lizard, I think New York City already has its disaster. They're having peaceful protests. Yeah, right. They're having riots in the streets. Protesters on opposite sides of an issue going after each other. Freeman says 3 Mile Island was a partial meltdown. Well, look at California. Our nuclear power plants were built on an earthquake fault. Whose brilliant idea was that? Some have been shut down, but not all of them. Jay Lizard thinks Elon Musk is a horse sign. I think he's younger than I am. Let me see. Come on, Google. Elon Musk. Oh, yeah. But he's a Gemini. No, wait a minute. No, he's a Cancer. Gemini ends around the 21st of June. He was June 28, 1971. What's 54 and 12? That would be 66. No, he's not a horse. The signs of the Chinese zodiac come up every 12 years. And I was a horse in 54, so the next year of the horse would be 66 and then 78. And darn it, what year did I say he was born? Come on, open the search again. 71. Nope. Definitely not a horse. Oh, New York also built a nuclear power plant on an earthquake fault, Freeman says. Yep, that figures. Freeman was either a dog or a rooster. Well, I was a horse. My son, I keep forgetting. He was not a horse. Oh, he's been diagnosed with autoimmune disease, and it was caused either by COVID or by the jab. They can't be sure which because you can't win. Either way, you're in danger. They both cause it. But the damage to his heart has shortened his life, and with treatment, he'll do better while he's still living, but it won't do a whole lot to extend his life. Nebraska is burning down? I'm not seeing that on the news. California was burning down, but that was due to mismanagement. Government telling people, oh, you can't clear that brush. Some mouse lives in that brush and some insects. So all the mice and insects died in a fire because they didn't clear the brush. J Lizard sweetens coffee and tea with Tang? Huh, yeah, I guess orange. Well, orange would be good in tea. I like my coffee plain. Although once in a while I really want a vanilla frappuccino. I don't go to Starbucks, but they sell it in a bottle at the grocery store. So maybe once a month I get a vanilla frappuccino. But it's so full of sugar. I can't drink it all at once. It takes 3 days to drink the whole thing. I drink a little each day. Oh well. Let's see. I don't know. There's lots to talk about, but what do I want to talk about? It has not been terribly hot. On one day, a few days ago, it got up to the mid 80s, but mostly it's been the high 70s because I'm 5,000 feet up on a mountain. Well, I don't know about orange whip, Freeman, but if you're at home with orange juice and a little malted milk powder, you can make an orange Julius. Back in the 60s, I used to ask for an egg in it, a raw egg. But lately, with all the factory farming, I don't dare eat a raw egg. But it's basically orange juice with malted milk powder, which you can buy in a jar at the grocery store. It's also known as malt sugar. It is sugar, but it has a flavor. Freeman says, yeesh. I guess you don't like the idea of a raw egg. I terribly miss Orange Julius. But the last time there was an Orange Julius stand and I bought one, I didn't like it. They I don't know what they did, but it wasn't as good. Oh, yeah, it would be big in Arizona, Jason. It's hot in Arizona. Oh, no, with the Orange Julius, the egg just, you don't even taste it, it just makes it thicker. I think you could get away with a thickener, trying to think of the name of it. Well, you could just dissolve a little bit of plain gelatin. You can buy packs of little boxes with little paper um, packets of gelatin and mix that in with your Orange Julius. Just don't overdo it or you'll have jello. But that will thicken it, and it's not quite the same as a raw egg, but it's good enough. I'm one of those people who just can't wait, so I start drinking the jello instead of waiting for it to set up. I just put it in the fridge until it's cold and then I start drinking it. Oh, Freeman says, now that we're going down memory lane, how about Photomat? Why not? Jason says, this reminds him of a story some guy in Tennessee told him once. A goat got into the hen house, so they told this guy to go and get some eggs. He comes running back with a handful of eggs, screaming, "The goat laid eggs! The goat laid eggs!" He thought they were goat eggs. I guess you'd call that guy a greenhorn. Didn't know anything about farming. So, let's see. Jay Lizard says we now have the largest wildfire in Nebraska history. It's nearing 100% containment after a week since it started. More than 600,000 acres. Wow. Well, I went and drank too much coffee. I'm going to have to just take a minute to go to the bathroom. But I promise I'll be back, so don't go anywhere. Oh. Oh, hobble, hobble. Oh, give me a kitty. This big, fat, fat and pretty. Oh, just give me a big kitty cat. Fat, fat. I need a big kitty that's big, fat, and pretty. Oh, gosh, I'm coming. I'm almost there. I'm going to have to fight the cat for my bed tonight. Tora has decided she likes my bed. The whole thing. Okay, let's see what you've been doing in my absence. Jason is going to be on the Christian Marauder YouTube channel Friday morning, talking about the UFO case. that happened to his buddy. Ooh, send a link over, please. It'll depend on what time in the morning. Even though I'm usually awake by 7, it doesn't mean my brain is working. Around 10 or 11 in Arizona, that should work for me. Oh, Jay Lizard was working on a movie called Almost There. About an artist who is crippled by arthritis and confined to a basement dungeon. He made him famous. That sounds awful. Basement dungeon. Brown shoes? Oh, Buster Brown shoes. Yeah, I remember those. Never had any, but I remember the ads for them on the TV. Mom always bought the cheapest shoes she could find. When I was in high school, well, junior high, yeah, high school too, I had one pair of shoes, so it had to be sneakers because we had to wear sneakers for physical education, phys ed. So I went through junior high and high school with white sneakers because that's all I had. Almost There won Independent Artist Awards. Based out of Chicago. That's cool, Jay Lizard. I don't remember Tough Skin Jeans. Ah, Jason's old enough to remember Tom McCann. What were those shoes? When I had a summer job, I bought my own deck shoes. I can't remember the brand name, but there were ads all over the TV. Vans. Vans. I bought myself a pair of Vans. Jason was in a 15-minute film called Jack of Bullets, and you can find it on YouTube. Cool. Yeah, we actually called them deck shoes. All the ads had them walking around on small boats. Oh, wow. When I had my first horse, got a after-school job and bought a horse. Mom was freaking out, thought I was going to end up dead. Oh, Florsheim, right, Jay Lizard. I'd be at the stables, mucking out the stall and feeding the horse. And I'd ride my horse around the corner to this little takeout place where they didn't have seating anyway. And I couldn't leave the horse in the parking lot. But I ordered a Philly cheesesteak. And it was cheap. I think it cost like $1. And most of their sandwiches for 50 cents. This was like 1970, something like that. And I'd get the Philly cheesesteak and then ride my horse back to the stables around the corner. And I didn't know what a Philly cheesesteak was the first time I bought one. I thought maybe it was Philadelphia brand cream cheese on a steak. It's actually either Swiss cheese or provolone on a steak, but it was, oh, and it has to include onions that have been fried till they turn brown, but they're not burned. It was so delicious for $1. That was one of my best memories. The horse lived less than a year. I had him for 9 months when he got a broken shoulder and had to be put down because he was like 23 years old. He was not going to heal. I had him out on pasture because that's where I could afford the monthly fee for boarding. And he got kicked by a mare that he was interested in. And mind you, this horse was a gelding. He was not a stallion. He should not have been interested in females. But that one mare had a little colt, a baby, and she wasn't having it. She kicked him real hard, broke his shoulder. Yeah, Jay Lizard, Philly cheesesteak is more East Coast, but this little, actually kind of a takeout deli. All they did was sandwiches. They must have been people from New York or something. That was, it was a cheap steak and some kind of cheese and some onions on a, what do you call those? The buns they put hoagies on. But it was really good. You can use cheap cuts of meat. If you're a good cook, you can make it just delicious. And often the cheaper cuts of meat actually have more flavor and better flavor than the ones that cost more because they're tender. Oh, Jason, I think I've lost track of what you're talking about. Oh, lean on me? I'm, man, you guys are chatting like crazy. I can't keep up with it because I'm tired and old. I don't remember what Lean on Me was about. I don't think I ever saw it. I just saw the trailers. Now I want a Philly cheese sandwich. Oh, mozzarella cheese is good stuff, Jay Lizard. I usually end up with Jack cheese, which is a close second and a lot cheaper. Oh, movies about high school. What was that one where all the students were in detention and they were told to write? Oh, The Breakfast Club. They were writing an essay. Uh-oh. Uh, one of my gadgets was sitting on my space bar and typing a great big blank chat. I just backspaced it out of there. Pat Sajak was in your freshman yearbook? Oh, somebody met him in Las Vegas and got a picture with him, so they put it in the yearbook. I was going to say, I think you're too young for Pat Sajak to have been in your class. Well, the Breakfast Club was set in a high school where the students were in detention and told to write an essay. It was a good movie. I think it was called The Breakfast Club. Molly Ringwald, yes, Jay Lizard. I'm trying to remember whether the guy who played the Fonz was in it. Never remembered names of actors or anybody, really. Don V, welcome in. We've been on for nearly an hour, just chatting about this, that, and the other. Oh, Henry Winkler, Don V. I'm not sure. He might have been in Breakfast Club. There's all these juvenile delinquents in detention. Well, it's okay, Don V. There's always the replay, but really we're just chatting about stuff. I did mention current events here and there. Let's see, it's 10:35 p.m. here. Tora still has my bed. Cats own everything. Anything they want belongs to them. Oh, let's see, we mentioned Zoroaster and Iran and brush fire in Nebraska. The heat wave that has hit California, but not so bad on the mountain up here at 5,000 feet. Oh, do we have to mention Marlon Brando? On the waterfront. Stella! Was that in On the Waterfront or the other movie? Oh, The Horror. Yes, of course. I'm blanking on titles. I read the book and saw the movie, and I can't think of it. It's late at night, and I'm old and tired. Apocalypse Now. Yeah, but what was the book called? What was it called? Darkness. Something darkness. And in the novel, it makes it very clear that the real darkness was not in the people of the Congo, but in the hearts of the white European men who were God. um, working in Africa, in the Congo. Yeah, Heart of Darkness. That's it, Don V and Jay Lizard. Thank you. Joseph Conrad wrote that novel around 1900, maybe 1910, I forget. But it's full of the N word because at the time nobody thought it was a bad word. It was simply the way that stupid white English men were trying to pronounce Niger, which is a country in Africa. And the word apparently means black. Although I thought it was French, but no, it isn't. The French word for black is something else. I forget. Well, maybe they were just stupid Englishmen. Noir, Noir, is French for black. But they were trying to pronounce the word for Niger, which is right next to Nigeria, by the way. And they just couldn't pronounce anything right. They called Myanmar Burma, for crying out loud. Oh, there's a hidden gem of a movie, Jason says. It's called The Emerald Forest. Ooh, Renewal Man. Hello there. Running out of gas in Thailand. Long lines. Gas stations closing. Yeah, I guess Thailand gets oil from the Middle East. And there's a problem with it now. A streetcar named Desire. Thank you, Freeman. That's where Marlon Brando at the end is yelling, Stella, Stella. And just to show you how naive I was, the first time I saw Streetcar Named Desire, as a very young adult, I didn't understand what Stella's sister meant when she said, I have always depended on the kindness of strangers. It meant she was a hooker. A prostitute. I didn't know that. I just thought, wow, strangers give you money? I wonder, that's amazing. Oh dear. Good one. Jay Lizard says, I went on a date with a professional harp player. In retrospect, had we hooked up, my life would be the harp of darkness. I remember a fellow student in junior college. We were taking piano. She was just all upset because her sister, who played the harp, could not wash dishes because it might ruin the calluses on her fingers, and she needed those calluses to play the harp. Oh, Jason had a smoking section in high school. No, only the continuation school, they call it C school now, allowed students to smoke, and they'd just go out on the playground. Or it wasn't a playground, it was a high school, but the activity area, and smoke. I don't remember when Sri Lanka became Ceylon because I always heard it called Ceylon. But yeah, it's Sri Lanka. I wonder what the people of India call India. I don't know. Raymond's grandma was named Stella. Oh, Don has American Spirit cigarettes. I've got my Camel filters. They have the filter is all cotton, no fiberglass crap or plastic in it. And the tobacco's a little better than most American cigarettes. They cost more, but not as much as the American Spirit or one of my favorites, oh dear, I've forgotten the brand name, but I remember the red box. Dunham, Dunham. But in typical British pronunciation, it isn't Dunham, it's Dunham. What I remember about Marlon Brando is that when they made the first Superman movie with Steve Reeve, I think that's his name, Brando resisted. They wanted him to play Superman's father on their planet, Krypton. And he just resisted and resisted, and they finally got him to do about half an hour of shooting for $1 million. They just didn't want anybody else. They wanted Marlon Brando. Jay Lizard's first boss smoked. He thinks Viceroys during the interview. I used to smoke Viceroys when I was a teenager. Virginia Slims. Oh, those were horrid things. All their advertising was about being a liberated woman, but because really, women shouldn't smoke. Well, that's a men's thing. Well, Virginia Slims were awful. Jason used to smoke a Canadian brand called Players. Came in a black and gold box. You see what happens? Where was I? Oh, all the tobacco buyers from Europe and Canada buy up the best tobacco, and the American companies buy the cheap stuff that's left over. Oh, Charles Bronson. You've got to watch this Charles Bronson movie. I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube. It's somewhere to watch for free on the internet. It's called Telephone. Telefon. Telephone. It's supposed to be Russian for telephone. He plays a Russian spy who wakes up all the planted terrorists in the country, in the U.S. There's a word for that, but I'm forgetting it. Jay Lizard almost had a heart attack when he noticed the price of camels had gone up to $13. Christopher Reeve. That's the guy. I called him Steve Reeve, didn't I? Or which one played Superman? Now you got me confused. Well, when I was a teenager, let's see, when Jason was a teenager, Marlboros were $1 a pack. When I was a teenager, they were 25 cents a pack. And you could get a carton for $2, which that's 10 packs, which brought it down to 20 cents a pack. On the other hand, it may have been only a half hour of filming, but with Marlon Brando, he was so good you didn't need to do a second take. You might have done a whole hour, but really, it was ridiculous. Oh, Tipperillo, that was a little skinny cigar with a built-in plastic holder, so you didn't have to bite the end and make a hole in it. You didn't have to chew on the tobacco. Well, now I really want a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. I don't have a steak. I'm going, oh my God, $20 for a T-bone? You gotta be kidding me. Here and there I get a New York strip, which is, it goes by many different names, like club steak. But it's rather tough, and it's actually a little cheaper than other. Thank you, Don B. Christopher Reeves. There is an actor named Steve Reeve, or was. I don't remember. Was he the one who played Superman in the original TV series from the 60s? No, I'm not sure. Anyway, man, prices have gone up. Sleeper agents, thank you, Freeman. Have you been Googling, or do you just remember? Don Knotts should have played Superman? Actually, we kind of think of Don Knotts as the sidekick on Andy Griffith, but he was a good actor. I bet he could have pulled it off. Oh, I could have been a contender. Now I remember that, Don B. Oh, Mr. Mixtleplex. Only Superman could pronounce his name and make him go away. But Christopher Reeve then does not have an S on the end. Steve Reeves was Superman, and then Christopher Reeve without the S was Superman. Oh, Jason watched Buck Rogers when he was a kid. He even had Buck Rogers toys. Oh, Steve McQueen was the man. I still remember him with the baseball. Was he the? No, wasn't the one with the baseball, was he? He was the one with the motorcycle in The Great Escape. I think that, or was it Stalag 17? It was a movie anyway, about Americans in a German prison camp in World War II. And the motorcycle scene was not in the script, but he insisted he had to do something on the motorcycle. Steve McQueen was really into motorcycles, so they had him trying to go through the barbed wire fence on a motorcycle. Never explained where he got a motorcycle. One of the actors playing a prisoner would get punished. They'd put him in a hole in the ground, and he'd have a glove and a baseball, and he'd just sit there tossing up the baseball and catching it. Oh, now Don B is going to watch On the Waterfront and sit down and cry. Oh, Phil could not play Superman. Phil was not very strong physically. He looked like it. He had a great big barrel chest, but that was from having asthma since childhood. He was really not very strong. He could throw his books at Lex Luthor, I guess. Did Steve McQueen also do the baseball thing? The Great Escape. Okay. Oh boy. Getting tired here. It's almost 11. Wow. Well, anyway, we've gone way down memory lane. Let's see. Just in case you missed it, update on my son. Cedar Sinai says he has autoimmune disease or condition. He's allergic to himself. It's either from COVID or from the jab. They both can cause it. There is treatment for it, but his life will still be shortened. He'll just live better while he survives. Oh, Don B refuses to leave the chat because he loves me or loves us. Okay. Do I like hummus? Not particularly. It's made from garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. Whenever Mom cooked pork chops, which thank God was not terribly often, she'd brown them in the frying pan and then pour in tomato sauce, a can of tomato sauce, and a can of garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas, and boil them. And the pork chops were really good, but we were required to eat the garbanzo beans in tomato sauce with salt and pepper. Those seemed to be the only spices she knew about or ever used. Except sometimes if she was making spaghetti, she'd pour in way too much oregano, and I despise oregano. I avoid using it, and I use basil instead. I figure that something that tastes that bad can't be good for me, even if they do claim it is. I will forgive anyone who departs, because I'm winding down and leaving in a minute. Chickpeas and garbanzo beans, they're the same thing. Oh, Don made a dirty joke. It's disgusting. But I won't delete it. I'm going to fall asleep, so I might as well not fall asleep while on here live. So let's see. Thank you all for chatting with me, and have a wonderful day. I suppose it would help to get rid of that typo. Come on, where's the arrow thingy? Let's see. I don't have the little thing to put up a heart. There it is. Here we go. I'm glad that all of you came in. You guys are the best. Love you all. So have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. I think doing nighttime chats are better because, knock on wood, the internet connection is stronger. Oh dear. Jay Lizard just quoted Carol Burnett. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, the time has come to say so long. Yep, that's a good one. She's one of the few names I can remember other than my relatives and close friends. And even then, I get the close friends' names wrong. She was wonderful. Phil and I used to we wouldn't ever consider missing her for love nor money. We wouldn't go out to eat when Carol Burnett was on. So long, farewell. I forget which show that was, but so long and so farewell. And I'll see you on the flip-flop. She's still alive, Whit says. Wow. Good for her. Amazing lady. Yes, Carol Burnett. Okay, good night all. Sleep well.